Hi guys, welcome to your quarter in design and modeling. This presentation is going to be kind of our basic overview to share a little information about myself, classroom expectations, grading policy, and then what we're going to be covering this quarter. All right, so expectations that are basically for every single day. Your Bluetooth should be on at all times. I use this to monitor iPads rather than having to stand over your shoulder. This is what I will use to be able to view and control iPads, so it should be on at all times. Water bottles, definitely permitted like they are in all classrooms. However, I ask that when we go to the computers that you still leave them at the black lab tables and you just go back over to get a drink at the lab table rather than taking them to the computer. Because this is a lab classroom, we're not going to have food or candy eaten in the room. If you have special permissions to have snacks, again, we're going to make sure that takes place over at the lab tables, not at the computers. But that will be on a case-by-case basis from the nurse. Each day when you come in, you should have your iPad with you. It should be charged. We will need your iPad every single day when we are working. So you need to make sure that you are maintaining a charge that will last until the end of our class period. Bring with you something to write with. I don't care if it's a pencil or pen, but that way then you have something when we do other sketching items. Bring with you a book or other homework. Those could be paper copies or they could be something on your iPad. But I want you to have other things that you do when you work on once you finish the work for my class if you finish ahead of your peers. Sitting there and staring or having a conversation with someone next to you is not going to be our standard. I will expect you to be working. Music is going to be a privilege. We will have that privilege hopefully come later in the quarter as you guys work in the engineering software. But ahead of time, don't be putting earbuds in unless it is for a certain video for the day that's been assigned or something that you've asked for permission for. When you enter the room, your phones should be placed in the pocket chart that is on my classroom door. That's where they should be before the bell, so don't wait until the bell and then take it up there. You need to make sure that you're dropping those off as you enter into the classroom. Packing up early is definitely not allowed. The bell will signify to me that it's time for you to be dismissed. And at that point, you'll look up to me. I will 99% of the time release you immediately at the bell. But sometimes we have an extra announcement that needs made, so just wait for that okay. But don't start to head towards the door or line up. A little bit of information about myself. The best way to contact me is definitely going to be email or Easttime. You can do that through Canvas or just using your normal email. Both will come to me. You're welcome to come down to my classroom during Easttime if you have questions that might be a little bit longer. Come see me in the morning and I can make sure to fill out a hall pass for you to be able to come down. If you don't get one ahead of time and your teacher allows you to fill one out to come see me, that is also fine. Just make sure when you fill in the note as to why you're coming so that I know what you need. I have 13 years experience teaching, so this is my 14th year teaching. I have licenses in many areas, and I actually have taught in most of those. So I've taught middle school and high school math. I've taught middle school science for both 7th and 8th grade, and then I also taught physics and chemistry at the high school level. I have taught a little bit in elementary, but that was only during my student teaching time. So most of my time has been spent with the middle school level. Then when I went to train for each of the 3 Project Lead the Way classes, that's the PLTW, that was at Purdue. So I had to go back and get certifications for each of the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade courses that you'll take here. I have one son. His name is Stone. He's in 4th grade. We basically spent all of our summer and most of our fall at the baseball field. He absolutely loves baseball. And typically tends to stand out among his peers because right now he is 5 feet and a quarter inch tall. So I'm only about 4.5 inches from basically him passing me. So getting pretty close there. Other information that I don't have on the screen. I don't live here in Noblesville. I actually live about 45 minutes north of here out in the country. I have coached volleyball several years in a row and hope to be back coaching that maybe again this fall. All right, grading and PowerSchool codes. So grading policy is that your grade is going to be weighted. 75% of your grade is going to come from the projects and labs that we do here in the classroom. The other 25% are going to be different bell works that we use to get started at the beginning of a topic, or reflections that we might be doing at the end of a topic. PowerSchool codes are the same that you should have already been seeing. LS is your low score, meaning you didn't earn at least that 50% on that assignment. And yes, you can go ahead and redo that to try to earn more than a 50%. NHI, you did not turn it in. And again, yes, you can turn in late work. This is only a 9 weeks class, so you can turn items in all the way until 4 p.m. on the last day of the quarter. Okay, and the last day of our quarter for this quarter is going to be March 13th. So make sure you have all of your work for this course turned in by 4 p.m. on March 13th. If you don't turn work in on time, so you were in class and then you didn't turn the assignment in when it was due, you'll get a 10% deduction. So if you scored a 70% on the assignment, that would mean then you have a 60% that goes into the grade book. Now, if you're out late, or if you're out, late doesn't mean that you're going to be deducted. So if you were sick 3 days, then you would have 3 days to make that work up. But I do ask that you write something on the lab to show that you were out sick. So out sick, and then write the days that you were out sick at the very top of the lab. That just helps me as I go back in to check stuff in PowerSchool so I can see what days you might have been out. Now, if you are out for an appointment or out sick, you still have to check in. It might mean that I need to make some changes to how you complete the lab, but you will still have to make that lab up. All right, so let's take a look at the material we're going to be covering during this quarter. So our introductory unit is going to look at what engineering is and the design process. So we're going to examine in depth what engineering is and what an engineer does. You're going to look at how STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math connect to objects around you. We're going to look at the engineering design process. The engineering design process is very similar to the scientific method, but it's more narrow to fit the creation of a product. And you guys will use the design process to create a piece of furniture sometime during this quarter. Okay. We'll also examine how different computer software, CAD software, is used to design the different theme park rides that you would see, like roller coaster rides, and then we'll also use that later in the quarter to create objects. We will do some measurement and sketching. So we'll use a dial caliper, which you see in the bottom left corner, and learn how to read that. It does read differently than a ruler. It's more precise, and we're able to get better measurements from that, much smaller precise measurements. And then we are going to see how those measurements can transfer into Autodesk Inventor, which is our CAD software, and you can use that to recreate objects. We will also practice orthographic sketching. Orthographic sketching is the picture that you see in the bottom right-hand corner, and it shows us the different views of an object. So we're going to look at how an object might look different from the front than it might from the top, and we're going to use that when we are engineering products. Our final unit is called Designing for Production. So during this time, that's when you get to be hands-on working in our CAD software. So our main object is going to be using Autodesk Inventor. And Autodesk Inventor allows as much creativity as you want to put into your project. We are also going to experiment a little bit with Onshape, which is a web-based one that's very similar to Autodesk Inventor. And then Tinkercad will also be available. You're going to learn how to apply different geometric and dimensional constraints to things. We'll make nameplates, logos, houses, buildings, and other projects during this quarter. So here are some examples of past projects. Here's another screen of past projects. And then you'll see also on the various bulletin boards around my room are other projects of previous 6th graders. Okay. If you have any questions, again, make sure you email me so that we can stay in contact to get those questions answered.